It's day 2 on the island, and if you're in this situation, food is now your next priority. I'm going to try my luck in the ocean. First I'll need to make a spear. This bamboo pole is a start. To stop the bamboo from splitting, I need to use some more hibiscus bark to lash round it. Now I split the head of the bamboo and just ease that down so that I can carve 4 very sharp points. It's getting pretty sharp now, and that's really about as good a spear as I can make for fishing. There's plenty of fish if I can only catch them. I can only hold my breath for a couple of minutes before I have to resurface. Of all the mammals, humans have the smallest breath-holding capacity. But I've got to keep going. And it would give me such a boost to get a proper meal inside me. But meeting a shark is not what I expected here. Luckily, this is a sandbar shark, one of the least aggressive species around here. But he's a reminder that there could be others around. So it's time to get out of the water fast. But I'm not giving up. In any survival situation, you've just got to keep on trying. And if that doesn't work, then come up with a new plan. I'm going to try a traditional technique that's used by Pacific Islanders. I'm looking for a plant that can be used to poison fish. The tuber plant is common throughout the Pacific. It has distinctive oval leaves and is found near coastlines. The poison is in the roots. You want to use only fresh, small roots, as they are the most toxic. Fish often get trapped in little rock pools like this at low tide, and what I'm doing here is just crushing up this tuber root to get the oils out of it. And this is so cool, this. What you do, really mash it and then just shake all of this into this water. Within minutes, any fish caught by this should float to the surface. The plant and root system contains rotenone, a natural toxin used for centuries by indigenous people for harvesting fish. And the poison has no effect on human beings, so the fish are safe to eat. Now I've actually caught these fish, I need to cook them. And what I'm going to do is bake them in what's called an emu, and that's a traditional Hawaiian rock oven. And this is something I've always wanted to do, but I've just never normally had the time to spend to do it properly. And what you do, first of all, just dig a pit like this, and I can just pick some of these rocks up, place them in here, and these are now really hot. And it's these that are going to slow bake the fish once I've wrapped them up. And these rocks will stay hot for hours and hours and hours, and sand is a really good insulator. And what I do is use some of these leaves here just to line the bottom of the oven, put the bundle in there, more leaves on the top, and then basically leave it. And this, in about an hour, should be ready. I can't wait. My fish should now be cooked. There we are, and I can see just the little fish eyes have popped out. I don't know if you can, if I pull one of them out. The fish eyes have popped out, and that's a sign that they're ready. But these you can just eat whole, and this is gonna be good. You could stay on an island like this indefinitely. But throughout history, maroon sailors have often risked it all for a chance to make it home. Tomorrow, I'm going to try something I've always wanted to do. Attempt to build a raft and head out to sea.
I've put myself in the position of someone stranded on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I have shelter and I've found food. I could now wait for weeks to be rescued. But if your island runs out of food and water, you will only survive if you can leave. And this is how I'm going to do it.
The ancient Polynesians used to travel hundreds of miles in canoes that kind of look like this, these dugout canoes. But when they wanted to go further afield, what they did was add like an outrigger. So it would look like this, and this added stability to the craft. But I haven't got the time or the tools to build this sort of elaborate canoe. But what I have got here is fantastic resources, masses of bamboo and masses of lashings. And what I can do is build like a catamaran, a twin-hulled version of this that's much less sophisticated, but it's got the stability, and I can use that to get me off this island.
I'm going to lash it all together with the bark of the hibiscus tree. This simple catamaran-like design will give the raft more stability and give me room for provisions.
And I just can't wait to get this thing in the water.
The deck has to be strong and flexible enough to withstand the powerful swells and waves and lift me above the water, keeping me as dry as possible. And because the raft will be so heavy, I'm building it on bamboo rollers to make the task of getting into the water easier. Now I need a sail. Without that, any trip will be at the mercy of the currents.
This is the one part of this whole raft that is a complete unknown to me, trying to make a sail, and this is something I've never done before. If I'm honest, I don't know whether this is just going to work or not.
I'm going to interweave these palm leaves to make the sail, then build a timber frame to support it, bracing the whole structure.
Maybe that across the bottom. A few of these and then lash all of that together. It just might work, but I don't know whether it's going to stand up to the rigors of whatever the Pacific has out there. And I've got to make sure now I've got all the provisions I need, because I'll tell you what, once this baby launches, it's so heavy, there's no way I'd ever get it back on this beach. And I've got to have everything I need for whatever the Pacific has got to throw at me.
As well as water, I'm taking more coconut oil for protection and sand to polish my knife. If I see any ships, I'll use it as a signal reflector.
For me, this is so exciting, and I will never forget these days, but I just pray now with my whole heart and soul that this thing works.
It's a moment of truth, and if you're not completely confident that your raft will survive, ditch it and swim back to the shore. But this Polynesian design seems to be stable.
Well, I'm off, and the winds are much lower than they've been for the last few days. I've just been keeping an eye on them, and these trade winds have definitely died, and this is a weather window I've been waiting for, and I just hope this weather stays until I can get going a bit.
Rough seas will severely weaken my raft, and I hope this calm spell will last. But at the moment, the first problem with being out here is the sun.
The best way of keeping cool though in this heat is just every few hours dive in and have a dip. But you always want to make sure you've got a leash on, because there are an awful lot of stories of lone survivors getting separated from their rafts.
But there's something in the water, and I've got to get out quick. I should have double-checked before jumping in.
I tell you, I'm lucky to be out of that water. And normally, if the sharks are on the surface, you can see their dorsal fins. But these ones are deep, and I had no idea they're anywhere near when I got in. Whenever you're swimming off a raft, you always want to keep your clothes and your shoes on. And statistically, whenever people have been in the sea in groups, it's the unclothed ones that are often attacked first.
This is because sharks can confuse the flickering sunlight on the skin for fish.
Wow, look at this fella, look, whoa! And these tiger sharks have the most damaging bite of any shark in the sea.
Great whites aside, The tiger shark is responsible for more recorded human deaths than any other shark. But soon they get bored of me and leave. It makes me wonder how people have survived being adrift for week after week in these vast oceans. It takes willpower and resolve simply to keep your hopes alive. This is why it's so important to keep yourself busy and do all you can to find more water and food.
Time for a bit of fishing, and I've got a fish hook made from one of the fish bones of the fish I caught on the island, a little bit of bait, a line made out of the hibiscus fibre, and then a bit of bamboo for the rod. Fingers crossed I catch something. Then just settle back and see what we get. I've got something, look! Hey! Whoa! Wow, look at this! This is actually a little surgeon fish. These are quite nasty little brutes. And you can see why. Look at these. Look, these are razor sharp all the way down here. That little knife-like thing there. And another blade-looking thing there. And these are so sharp, these can cut a vein easily if you picked it up wrong. And what I'm going to do is open it up, and you can see the spine of it actually here. And what I want is to get the fluid out of that. Not much, but it's better than nothing.
It's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But with the reflection of the sun in the water, it feels like even more. And without shade, I'm now risking sunstroke. The Pacific is a vast ocean, but it also has busy shipping lanes. However, these ships probably won't see you unless you can draw their attention first.
That's a boat probably about 4 or 5 miles away, and I've just seen the top of it when it stops dipping in and out of the shot. But it's definitely a boat. Going to use this knife just in a bit of sand just to brighten it up, and use this to signal with. And signaling like this, you can be seen up about 10 miles away really well. And there's actually a guy who was rescued from over 100 miles away just from using a reflector like this. And all you do, where is it there? Get your V of your finger and then glint this in the sun. Put it on the object and just bring it in and out of view. And pray like anything that there's someone on deck watching. They're definitely turning. Even though this might look idyllic, it's been much harsher than I ever imagined. And I've gained definitely an understanding of just how unforgiving the sea can be, but also how heroic some of the people are who have survived it. And it's almost like one of those places you can't appreciate it until you've actually experienced it. But for me, it is definitely time to go home.